And we're off. Welcome to another episode of Progress Always. Mike Anders here with my wife, my boss, the mother of my children, my business partner, my partner in all things life and everything else, Nicole Anders. What's going on, babe?
Hello. Hi, hubby. Thanks for
Some
getting me
would,
all set up here.
oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Some would say this is a long time coming. I've wanted to do this for quite some time. We gave it a dry run during the pandemic with Anders After Dark, and that was fun. You
It was.
know, and we've had a lot of shifts, a lot of evolution, both personally and professionally, as we've grown and evolved next level together, which has been an amazing journey. And if there's anything awesome that came of the pandemic, it was just driving you and I closer together. And that missing ingredient was just coming together in business, right?
Yeah.
So, but your journey starts back with baseball or basketball in Janesville, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Daughter of a career coach,
Mm-hmm.
made a run at state,
Mm-hmm.
AAU All American,
Mm-hmm.
under recruited,
Yeah.
and had a pretty solid collegiate career. Played Duke in the final
NCAA
March
tournament.
and yeah, the tournament.
Yeah. At
Um,
Cameron Indoor.
and say again.
At Cameron Indoor, which is pretty freaking cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and so much of your basketball identity has followed you into everything that we do now in terms of your skill set and everything that you bring to the table for next level, and everything you bring to the table as a mom, right? So when we go back to what we've put together uh, for the path,
Yeah.
one of the realizations that we came to is like, holy shit, you're the avatar,
Yeah.
right? So much of the problems that we help our clients solve were problems that you had at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of your growth journey, personally and professionally, uh, is the positive result, the use case for what we put out there now. And I think that's super fucking cool because that wasn't the design originally. And then when we got 30,000 feet above it, as I like to say, we realized like, oh my God, all the problems we're solving for these super powered women are, you've already walked that journey.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was, how was that realization for you?
Well, I'd like to just go back and kind of touch on what you said about how my high school, collegiate kind of basketball career has, I guess, what's the word I want to use? Shown up again. For a long time, I was trying to put that in my rearview mirror. Like, I'm not a basketball player. That's not me anymore. And I was trying to find, and for good reason, I was really trying to find who Nicole, now Anders, was beyond basketball. And so a lot of the characteristics that I used to be a successful high school and collegiate basketball player, I had kind of suppressed that. The competitiveness, the that drive, that grittiness, that intensity. I was like, that's not me. That was the basketball player. I need to be nice. I need to be kind. I want everybody to like me. And now, as I've kind of stepped into this role as kind of like the voice, the face of this kind of arm that we've created of Next Level for high powered, high achieving executive business owner females, I've realized I need to step back into who that girl was, because she was badass. And as much as I look back on it and some of the things that I did and I said, and it's kind of cringeworthy, the heart of why I did it is the same reason why I need to do and be who I am today. Because it takes a competitive mind. It takes grittiness. It takes intensity. It takes hard work to get to where we're trying to help these females get to on the other side of where they're feeling stuck right now. Because you got to change your mindset in order to get there. And a lot of the women, I know that they have it because I know a lot of them where they used to be, right?
Yeah.
Like we were all-star, all-state athletes. We were collegiate athletes. And you don't get to be there just by being a meek, mild woman. You don't. You step on the court and you own your power. You stand in who you are. And, you know, fuck. Some of my girlfriends and I, we would roll up to the club, step out of the cab, and the guy at the door would let down the ropes and let us in. We didn't wait in line. We just went right in because that's who we were, right? And what I'm trying to get women to understand is you're still that woman. You still get to be that woman. Like it's freaking amazing to still get to be that woman. So I just thought it was kind of interesting that you brought that up. I was like, yeah, like that's where we need to get these women back to remembering, like, don't forget who you are, right? I think a lot of times, you know, you get married, you have kids, you're in your career, and you lose your own identity for whatever reason. And it's not on purpose, but it may be, you know, your husband is, you know, his work is really important. So I got to make sure that, you know, he's taken care of. There's meals on the table and laundry's done and all that things. Or, you know, my kids are so involved in baseball and they're, you know, got all these things. And you lose your identity of like who you are because you're so busy taking care of everybody else along with this career you're trying to build. And you forget about the most important person.
Yeah.
So,
What's funny about that, you talk about identity, right?
Yeah.
And so much of, you know, when you meet somebody for the first time and you're like, oh, so what do you do? It's like, oh, well, I'm a insert profession here, you know, and you start attaching your identity to these things. Like I'm a mom, I'm a wife.
Yep.
I'm a businesswoman. You know, and you know, so many labels that come before I am Nicole.
Yeah.
And you take away all that shit, and it's like, well, who is Nicole? Right? And it took a lot of work over a number of years to really figure out who you were again.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that you're, my conversation with Sergio last week, we were talking about the, you know, just high-powered individuals in general, it's not gender exclusive to men or women, but you become successful by default because you're so used to a higher than normal output that gets you over the hump and masks your misery. Right. And you know, when did you realize that you were just in that hamster wheel of production?
Yeah. So I remember it vividly. I woke up on a Saturday morning in the spring of 2019. I was still in my corporate job, which was for a long time my dream job. I was an executive personal assistant working for a high-powered family, high wealth, high net worth family. And for a long time, I loved it. But on this Saturday morning, I've got a 3 and a 1-year-old. And I was already fielding text messages and emails about everything that was going wrong for this event that we were having. And our son, Tristan and Cameron, were jumping on the couch, and I just lost it. Now they're 3 and 1 jumping on the couch, and I lose my mind, yell at them. And they kind of are just like stunned, look at me. And in that moment, I sat down on the couch and I thought to myself, holy shit, who am I? And I knew in that moment, I was no longer the wife and the mother that I had ever wanted to be. This was not the path that I wanted to go down. This was not who I wanted to be. And because I had been just going down this path with blinders on for so long, just achieving, I had lost sight of who it was who I truly was. And I knew in that moment I could not stay going down that path because it was somebody who I didn't want to be.
You know, your evolution is far from linear. You know, the trend line is 100% positive, but
Mhm.
it kind of looks like this. You
Yeah.
know, and some of that is really subjective based on, you know, where you're at emotionally and where your mindset is at, you know, in that moment. But
Mhm.
also, like, there's layers that need to be unpacked. You know, there's the issue of identity, there's the issue of fulfillment, there's the issue of purpose, right? And you've gone to great lengths to answer all and resolve all of those issues, right? So, you know, if it's not necessarily linear, and it's very, very, you know, as we've experienced with our clients, contextual, right? You
Mhm.
know, if we're just like, let's just look at the fitness equation, for example. Some people, like, we don't touch their fitness right off the bat. We got to get your recovery together first. Then you know, we have those conversations, right? So what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is it your nutrition or your physical activity? Is it your recovery or your hydration, right?
Yep.
So for you, maybe not necessarily in any particular order, but what were some of the most impactful things that you worked through to get here?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I have always worked out. That's always been a passion of mine. Pretty much since I was in my late 20s. So that's always been there. Um, for me, I think it started obviously when in 2019, when I came to the realization of where I was at as a mother and wife. And it just started to be this um, journey of personal growth and development. And I'll be honest, like at first, I didn't really understand it. Like I was like, oh, we got to read books and I got to listen to these podcasts and some of these other wild things that people talk about in personal growth and development. I think that as I've, in the last year, as I've really stepped into this role as kind of owning our online fitness and health program, is you, I want to make sure that I answer this correctly. But I feel like more in the last year, I've really grown as a woman than any other time. And I probably say that every year, but I feel like every year you grow more and more, and you're like, oh, man, that was tough. And then the next year, you're like, oh, man, right? But I feel like this year, you and I have had more conversations about like feel like I am expanding. Like we just talked about it earlier today. I'm
Mm-hmm.
expanding and then I'm contracting. And I'm like, oh, and then I'm expanding and I'm contracting. And I feel like the understanding that the fear, the pain, and the uncomfortableness that comes with being in a, whether you're a business owner, entrepreneur, high exec, you know, whatever you want to call it, right? Like you're a high achiever. You're making big decisions. Like things depend on what you do. Um, like sometimes we got to sit with that and be okay with that pain and that fear and that uncomfortableness and understand that that moment right then and there is going to help you become the next best version of yourself, right? Every time I've had to make a decision, and the decision is, can you hear Jade whining in the background?
She's all right. It's all
Okay.
good.
Every time I've had to make a decision, and the first thing that comes to my mind is if you do this, it's going to be a lot of hard work. I know right then and there I have to do it because it's the only way that I'm going to grow and become the next best version of Nicole. Because that thing is now staring me in the face. I can no longer say that I didn't have this opportunity, right? There it is. I get the chance to now either step into that uncomfortableness, that hard work, or I can say, no, not for me, right? Every time I've been faced with that now in the last year, I'm like, fuck, here I go again. Like, I got to do the thing, and I got to it's going to be painful, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to be hard work, right? But that's the only way that we grow. And I want to keep going. Like, I want to ride this thing until the wheels come off. Like, let me see how far I can go, right? And as painful as it is, and as many times as I come to you crying, like, ah, right? Like, I'm like, okay, like, here, this is okay. This is normal, or this is what I'm supposed to go through. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I feel like that's the most important thing for women to understand is it's like, you are presented with something, right? Like something that's maybe going to solve your problem. Mm-hmm. And if you say to yourself, oh, that's a lot of work, you probably should do it.
Yeah. Well, they say the only way to it is through it.
Yep.
If you're already going through hell, keep going.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's been a shift for you that I've observed where, we talked about this in the Leaders Forum last month, where our natural inclination when we're playing at a lower level of awareness is we need to create really awful, shitty situations or make somebody the villain so that we create that catalyst for ourselves to make hard decisions, right? Mm-hmm. Like I'm now doing this hard thing that I should have done months and months and months and years and years and years ago because you're an asshole, or this situation is beneath me and I need to go do something different, and the shift I've seen in you in that regard is you're not waiting for that anymore. You're not waiting for it to become toxic. You don't wait for things to become more challenging than they need to be before you address things, and I remember when early on in our marriage and we'd have these deep, high frequency conversations, and we identified for ourselves and each other that we need to hitch our wagon to other power couples, and kind of like looking for a house for the two of us. Like it's got to be the right couples, right? They need to embody what success means to us, where we are going. Mm-hmm. And as we've really leaned into that and condensed our circle quite a bit, mm-hmm. Now we have people coming to us and saying, oh my God, like, what's the secret? How do you guys make it work? Yeah. And, getting that external validation of like, oh, fuck, like, okay. Like we don't have all the answers, and, we're not doing everything right, but we're doing something right.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real testament to, things that we've done as a couple to not only, kick this business into high gear, but also have a thriving marriage as well, and it's not just doing the work on the relationship, it's doing the work on ourselves independent of the relationship as well. Because and we've talked about this at great length, and I'm genuinely interested in your perspective here. Mm-hmm. The number one failure of relationships is unmet expectations, right? Yep. And you and I have had very open and sometimes really hard conversations around what do you want? What do I want?
Yeah.
And for you, in terms of embracing that behavior between us, how has that become easier when you recognize that, we just need to have this challenging conversation right here, right now?
Yeah. So I feel like there's two things. So first of all, I have come to the realization that for a relationship to work, both individuals have to have extreme ownership for everything that's going on within the relationship. So every time I feel like there might be friction between you and I, if I catch myself saying, God damn it, Michael, I'm like, oh no, wait a minute. I had part in this too. What did I do? And every time I come back to that about what my part was in where the friction is, it becomes a lot easier. Like self-ownership, I have just as much is a part of this as you are. And so like that's made it so much easier for me to navigate when there is friction between us, because I have learned I have a big ego. I know it. Like that's why I'm successful. So I'm not going to like feel bad about it, but it also is something that I need to strip. And I've worked really hard to strip that ego within our relationships, because there's a lot of things that that I don't. So that's the first thing, is just, stripping that ego, taking full ownership within any friction that we have. Whether I think you had anything to do with it or not, it doesn't matter, because all I control is how my part in the situation. And then 2 is I have realized our goals and our visions are way bigger than any argument you and I might have about laundry, stuff left out, whatever it may be, right? Like I cannot allow myself to be stressed about such minimal, small things in our lives. It doesn't help either of us, but especially me, right? Because I know that I can be a very high stress individual. Like I know I hang on to that stuff, I internalize it, it turns into a shitstorm in my mind. And so the last thing that I need to be doing is worrying about the small stuff. There's much bigger problems. And I shouldn't even say problems. We don't even have problems. We really don't, right? But we've got bigger goals and a bigger vision that we're going. Like this little stuff I don't have time for it. Oh, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I know that one of the things that I'm always asking myself when we come up against those moments of friction, my filter is this my shit or is this her shit? And like I'm very cerebral in that regard, and I think like sometimes I think about shit for weeks, and I know that gets on your nerves sometimes, but at the same time, like once you recognize that in a person, as I feel like you have in me, when you want to address something and I tell you I'm not there yet, you give me the space, right?
Yeah, it bothers the fuck out of me, but yes. Because I'd rather deal with it right then and there and move on.
But in that moment, nothing that comes of that is going to be productive, right? And that's kind of the point. I'd rather not have I'd rather bypass the volatility and just get straight to the logic.
Yeah.
And sometimes that takes a little bit for me to fucking process.
I know.
And yeah, exactly. But that's the difference between acceptance and tolerance, right? Because if you're not, you can be tolerant of passive aggressive behavior and just continue to put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off, or you can just accept like, okay, you need a little bit more time, right? Like that. The Berkman was so powerful for us because now, like when we realize that we're in each other's stress behavior, we now have the know-how and the realization like, oh, like in that moment, time is really fucking important, and dealing with it right here, right now is not going to be productive, or I'm not going to get the result that I want to achieve. And, being able to navigate that linguistically and, change our language, our tonality, all of those things so that by definition of effective communication, message intended is message received.
Mhm.
That has been so huge for us.
Oh, I completely agree. I think for me understanding you, like I know now when you go internal, like just let him be. Like he needs a night on the couch to watch whatever he needs to watch. He'll be better in the morning. I used to take it so personal. Like, oh my God, he doesn't want to talk to me. Oh my God. Like, why can't we just why can't you just, get over it? Like, what a baby, right? Like, no, like you need that time and space. And so now I'm like, okay, like he needs a night in the living room. He's going to watch his TV. I'm going to go in the bedroom and watch my smut on Netflix. And that's it. And the next morning we wake up and I'm like, hey babe, love you. Right. And it was something that really needed to be addressed. I feel like we'll address it. Or if it's something you're like, okay, that was really stupid. Like I obviously was just tired. Maybe I just needed to sleep. We don't need to address it. So I think for you, like I've come to that, like I understand that so much more because it's not very often you do that. And I know that once you've hit that point, like you've hit that point and now you're internal. And so like, we just need to give you your space. For me, once we went through that Berkman assessment, like my bandwidth, I felt, you're a high achiever. You feel like you can do all these things, but I had no idea really kind of, I don't know if short is the word, but I need to make sure that I am very aware of my bandwidth because I can get exhausted, burnt out mentally really, really fast. And we've talked about this, how the times where I've lashed out the most and just been a bitch is when I am at my wit's end and I'm exhausted because I've been burning the candles on both ends, not given myself the self-care that I needed to be able to be present. Like I show up in my usual behavior, which is this energetic, bubbly, get shit done woman, right? Like it takes a lot for me to energize myself to be that woman, but then also on the rear, like I need to be able to, once I've done that, come back and be like, okay, I need to come back to my own little space here and get, I guess like just come down from the being that woman. Yeah,
on.
being on. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And just the
So
awareness of that.
yeah, and so I feel like the morning routine is a moving target,
Mhm.
and I'm curious. I have my own thoughts, but
Okay.
uh, where where are you at with the mandate of any particular morning routine?
This is where I'm at. And I guess I'm speaking mostly to women who are wives and mothers who are busy, right? Do I like waking up at 4:30 a.m. in the morning? Fuck. No, I don't. Every time my alarm goes off, I'm like, ugh. But once I walk out that door at 4:45 a.m. to go for my walk, I am in now a 30-minute space where I get to just take care of myself. I'm in my own thoughts. I'm listening to music. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm taking care of myself before the rest of the day because as soon as I get home, we have these children who just love to wake up at 5:15 a.m. in the morning. Like they are on and they are big personalities and they have things they want and needs that needs to get done. And so I am mom as soon as they wake up. Before, when I would wake up or they would wake me up, I never had that chance to like pour into myself before I had to pour into them. And I'd put my feet on the ground and automatically like my cortisol, my stress would just like shoot up. Like it's like, okay, here we start the day, like taking care of everybody else. Right. So I believe that these women need to do something for themselves in the morning, whatever it is that brings them joy before they start to take care of everybody else. That can be a walk, that can read, they can journal, but it has to be something that allows them to pour into themselves before the rest of the day takes over. because I mean, the rest of the day, I am now in mommy, work, and wife mode until the kids go to bed at 7, 8 o'clock at night.
So what you're saying is you don't have to go for a walk specifically. You don't
No,
have to journal specifically. You don't have to ground with nature specifically. You don't
no,
have to cold plunge, cold shower,
no.
8 ounces of water. Like all the shit that's out there right now, like none of those are requisite. All you're saying is whatever the mechanism is for you, make sure you're serving yourself first.
First. And it doesn't have to be the same thing every morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some mornings where I'm like, you know what? This morning I'm just going to get up, I'm going to read and go get my cup of coffee, and that's what I'm going to do for myself before I take care of the kids. Right? Like we like we don't have to make this more difficult than it already is. Right? Like it is, like life's hard, but here's one thing that we're asking you to do, but you choose how you're going to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's so counterintuitive as we get start working with with our clients, and as you've learned in your journey, and I've watched you go through it. It's in the beginning for high performers, high bandwidth, high capacity people. It's like, oh, give me more.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, we're going to stop doing that. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to replace this with that, and in the very beginning, there's this pattern interrupt where they come into this program with this narrative that we're going to just overcomplicate the fuck out of their life. And it's like, no. The answer is actually in simplification.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How challenging was that for you to wrap your mind around, and how has that impacted you moving forward?
Yeah. So that was like my biggest things, like, you and your morning routine, or you and, all these things that you were telling me I needed to do. You need to go see Dr. Drake. You need to go, go for a walk. You need to read. And I was like, when the fuck am I going to find the time to do all these things? Like, I'm not like you, where I'm at the gym and I'm like in control of my day. Like, I've got the kids and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, total like resentment mode there for a long time. Okay. So letting the cat out of the bag. So yes. But once I started to like dabble in it a little bit, I'm like, okay, clearly he might know what he's talking about, right? We're talking about stripping the ego. Let me see what this is all about. So for anybody who doesn't believe they need a morning routine, I'm here to say, like, you will find the time. You can find the time. It is possible. And I think that's the biggest hurdle that women like me need to get over is yes, right? Because all we're going to, like, you may need to wake up a little bit earlier. You may need to, like, so much idle time pretending we're at work during the day when really you're not working, right? Like, instead of like scrolling TikTok for 30 minutes in between Zoom, like go for a walk for 30 minutes, right? Like little stuff like that. Like there is so much time in the day, and we waste time on things that we don't even know we're wasting time on. So I think that is like the biggest thing, because every day now I have an hour morning routine where I go for my walk. I come home, I have the water, the coffee before I start with the kids and whatnot. Every day I remind myself, I'm like, you know what? I can feel it. Like, I'm going to take 30 minutes, step away from my computer. I'm going to go read. I'm going to listen to a podcast, something. And then at night now I'm reading before I go to bed, which is nice too. And you know what? Here's the thing. Like, you do these things and you are so much more productive during the day. Right. And that's the other thing. Like, women are like, oh, I'm not going to get as much done, or, it's going to take away from my family or from my husband. I'm like, no, it creates more space and more bandwidth for them. And I think that's the one thing that they really, truly don't understand is like, this stuff that you're doing for yourself. Yeah, yes, you are going to benefit from it, but everything else in your life is also going to benefit from it. Your spouse, your kids, your career, like, magnified. And that's just, once we can get them to understand that, it's lights out.
Well, it's funny, because we do a time audit with all of our clients,
Yep.
and to varying degrees. I think the most I found for a client, like over the course of a week, we gave him 10 hours back.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
Yep.
And then most recently, we found her. She's a uh, she's a C-suite exec for some big company in the Midwest.
Yep.
We found her. She had like no boundaries.
Right.
I
Zero.
was like, are you like professional athlete sport doc on call? She's like, no. I was
Yeah.
like, that's the kind of life you're living right now.
Yeah.
And we found her no less than 45 minutes a day, and on a couple of days we gave her back 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that's simply by in placing healthier boundaries.
Yeah.
Her productivity has gone through the roof, her stress has gone down, the scale reflects that, and
Yep.
her marriage is better.
Yeah.
um
I remember
you
the
know
last time I complained to you about, I'm like, I can't find the time in the day to do whatever it was that I was not getting done.
mm-hmm.
And you said to
what
me, you said, do you want me to do a time audit for you? And I was like, fuck, if I'm going to let him time audit my day, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to time audit my own day. So now, like every time I feel myself like giving the excuses, I need more time in my day, I go back to the drawing board and as my good friend Lynn likes to call it, I Tetris my day, right? Like, okay, this puzzle piece here, and I'm going to move this here, like fit it all in, because you can. It is possible. Keep Tetrising.
For everybody out there listening, Nicole's my favorite client. I think it's important. I think it's important that people know that you practice what you preach.
Yeah.
I think that it's for, and I mean this jokingly, but I'm also serious. Like, you have to be willing to go through the process of figuring out what works best for you.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Because like I tell everybody, what we do in the path and at HQ is 100% based in principle. And that's what allows us to customize the experience, the framework, the protocol to the client. Yeah. Because I mean, we live under the same roof, but what I need inside of the path for Michael to show up as the best version of himself is way different than what Nicole needs.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And it's that work. It's putting that thing together and then optimizing for efficiency that really catapults our clients, is creating that awareness around how much time you actually do have, and where we can fit ourselves back into the dream that is our lives. Right. We have too many people that we serve right now that have solved the money equation, have solved the relationship equation, and somehow, some way, in the building of these empires, have left themselves in the fucking dust. And then all of a sudden it's built, and they're like, oh shit, where do I fit now? And I think that what I've noticed in you from the outside looking in is you caught that in the as soon as you came into next level with me. You're like, that happened, and I don't want it to happen again.
Ever. Nope. And yeah, it's too important to me to have a strong marriage and to be a present, loving, full of energy mother, to let that slide. I refuse. I want a rock solid marriage. I want to be a mom who is out on the trampoline with my kids, at the park, doing the climbing things with the kids, shooting hoops, playing ball. I want to be the mom who's active with them. And I also want to be proud of the woman that's staring back at me in the mirror. Because when I look at the mirror and feel proud of myself, I get to show up as that wife and that mother so much easier, because your confidence is there, because you know who you are as a woman. You're proud of yourself. You can do hard things. It's not easy to, especially as we get into our 40s, right, to like hold on to this athletic, this woman that we know we were when we were in our teens and our 20s. It takes a little bit more effort, right? But if you can do it, prove to yourself that you can do it, do the hard work, keep the promise that you made to yourself that you were going to be that woman someday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, showing up for you becomes so much easier, right? Because I want to go on a date with you, right? It's so much easier to show up as the mother because I've got energy, right? Like, I'm not afraid to wear shorts in the summer. Like, I'll wear a bikini to the beach or to the pool, right? Like, like not losing me makes being the two things that are the most important to me easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's alignment, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it makes when you have that, when you're living into that, it makes the yeses magnified.
Yep.
And it makes the no's so much easier.
Yep.
Whereas when you don't have that kind of clarity, you've lost touch with who you want to be, your aspirational self. I love Matthew McConaughey's Oscar speech, where he talks about, always chasing that future version of himself that he'll never become, but the constant pursuit of who that person is, right?
Yeah.
Because that person down the road is already a better version, right? And when you have, we talked about the gap, right?
Yep.
And asking yourself, whether it's the indulgence of bad food decisions, or not going to, whether or not you're going to go work out today, or you're going to make that phone call, or, risk being told no in a sale, or you have to have this hard conversation with someone on our team, or with me for that matter. It's like, is this decision to do it or not do it in alignment with who I'm trying to become?
Yep.
And like, the answer to that question dictates everything else.
Yep. Yeah. In the last couple of months, I have realized that I am doing exactly what I've always wanted to do. And that is to inspire and motivate women to live the life of their dreams, right? Now, the fact that I have this opportunity to not make that phone call, to not message somebody, to not put that video out there, I'm only letting myself down. I'm letting them down by not doing it. This is what I've always wanted. I'm doing exactly what I've always wanted to do. Everything in my life has led me right to here. So, I owe it to myself to take these steps to keep going. Because if I don't, this is what I've always wanted. This is what I've always dreamed of. Now I'm here and be afraid to take the steps to keep going. So that's what drives me every day is like, I kept putting one foot in front of the other over the years, right? I was never afraid to make a change. I was never afraid to go after something bigger. And it was really scary a lot of times, a lot of the things that I've done over the years. But I've always known that I've had a higher and bigger purpose than where I currently am. And so that's what keeps driving me to be the next best version of Nicole. And now that I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm serving these women who need to hear what I have to hear, I have to keep evolving. I have to keep showing up. I have to keep growing, right? Because they have to see me doing the work.
Yeah. Well, you told me one time we were kind of at the crossroads with Next Level. You're like, whatever the fuck we decide to do, we're going to make it the right decision.
That's right.
And I feel like you really leaned into that as of late, because we've had like some knockdown, drag out fucking arguments about, who Nicole is and what you aspire to do and who you want to impact. And I know there was a lot of soul searching going on, especially in the early parts of our marriage, that transition away from corporate America into entrepreneurship and that limbo in between. And I can remember just sitting there, this is like a highly volatile, emotional conversation. And I'm just like, go fucking do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember the energy shift for you. It makes me laugh. It really fucking does. Because it's like, you support the best version of me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's all I want you to be,
Yeah.
And what has really shown up, especially like in the last 6 months, is like, I think you now realize, like, holy shit, there's a lot of women out there that didn't know that this was within them. And now you're walking proof of that path. Right?
Yeah. 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 I mean, oh my gosh. So I don't know if I am looking for your permission or not. I don't think it's permission. I think it's support. I know it's support. But I'm also looking for somebody to say, go do, right? Because as soon as you tell me, yeah, let's go, right? I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Like, I'm in, I'm all in. So I appreciate you. I know that you very much want me to make my own decisions and own the decisions that I do make for myself. And I do, but as my husband, and I've watched you, and I know you as a coach, but having your support and knowing that you are behind me 110% means the world to me. And the fact that I've now found my voice, I think within Next Level, I think it makes that all that much sweeter.
Yeah.
And so, and now I just look at these women who are fucking crushing it right now. Like our girl, our most recent girl who's lost, 18 pounds in 12 weeks. Right. Yep. And she's like, and then she says to you, she says, the weight loss is just, what did she say? The weight loss is just a byproduct of all these other breakthroughs that I'm having. And I'm like, yes, like that's the space we want you to be in. Right. Because like, let's talk about me. Like before, I was always like, oh, the number on the scale. Oh, the number on the scale. Oh, the number on the scale. Well, guess what? The number on the scale has not moved in the last 6 months, but my appreciation and enjoyment for life is exponential than it was in December of 2022 because of all these other things that I've been working on. And I understand that number on the scale that has zero to do with who I am.
It's a metric. It's not the metric.
Metric at all, right? And so, crazy.
Yeah, no, it's cool, and I know I walk a fine line as your husband and your coach,
Yeah.
and it's challenging sometimes to, watch you move through this as your husband
Yeah.
when I spend all day, every day coaching people out
Mhm.
of this shit.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that also lends to the experience, right? You talk about being an athlete and, all those characteristics and traits that come with you into what we do in our relationship and in business. Right.
Mhm.
But I think, we've had this conversation numerous times. Like, one of the things that we leave behind in those experiences and the false narrative that we come up with is that, like, I'm great and have this amazing capacity, and my 50% is most people's 100 because I'm fucking awesome. And it's
Yeah.
like, that's like 50% true. The other 50% is you had a fucking team, you had teammates, you had a coach with his foot up your ass
Yep.
telling you, and you had a place to be and things to be accountable for. And
Yep.
that is such that speaks to, at this in this season of our lives, uh, the purpose with which we get up every single fucking morning, right?
Yep.
When we were athletes, as a Marine, there was a purpose
Yep.
that got us up every morning, that
Yep.
made hard decisions easier,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
now what we're asking people to do, what you're asking these women to do, is to make themselves that purpose.
Yeah.
And that is so critical. And then
Yeah.
when you add coaching to that mix, so that those choices become strategic, so that you're able to find that alignment, now you expedite the path into your superpower.
Right. So that is really hard. Like, as an athlete, right? Like, people are telling, I mean, for so long, that's why it took me so long to get to where I am now. Like, for such a big part of my life, I was told what to do, how to do it, when to do it, right? You can be really fucking good at something when you have people telling you all day long what to do, right? So now we're adults, not only do we have to take care of ourselves, we got a marriage, we have kids, right? And it's just like, nobody's telling me what to do. And so many women are like, just tell me what to eat. Just tell me what to eat, right? And I'll do it. And it's like, but no, like, you have to want to understand how this works and want to do it for yourself so you can be a better version of yourself. Um, and so that's why I love our program so much, because we're not babysitting, right? But we are coaching them, we are teaching them about nutrition, about fitness, about their mindset, about um, uh,
Recovery.
about what? Recovery.
Recovery.
Like,
Yeah.
all these things, right? That, like, are out there, but you don't know how to put them together, and you don't know how to do it for yourself. And I think, like, can some women do this on their own? Yeah, maybe. But I think the majority are going to need help. I really do. I would not be here if it wasn't for you and the help that I've gotten from you along the way. I know that. I just don't think it's something that you can implement on your own. And if you do, it's going to take you a really, really long time. Our coaches are there to help expedite the process, make you aware of your blind spots, help you understand. And so that now the next time you go out into this world without us or without a coach, right, you're equipped with the tools in order to make the next best decision for yourself to keep you moving in the right direction.
Hell yeah.
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 Let's go.
And you're
Activate
you're and
Tom.
you're that's right. Let's go. You're you're the embodiment of everything that we do. And I find that unique in our program. And uh, I think it's really fucking cool because it allows us to, uh, from a use case perspective, approach these conversations from a very substantial place of authenticity. Right.
Yeah.
And, for those of you listening to the show, follow Nicole on Instagram at Nicole_Anders. she's going to help you figure out how to prioritize your health, eliminate stress, and find that alignment that you've probably lost touch with.
Yep.
Right. And, I really appreciate having you on today. This has been a long time coming. This is a check in the box for my bucket list. And, I know that our audience is going to find a ton of value in this conversation. So I appreciate you and I love you.
Oh, I love you too. Well, thanks for having me on. I know this is totally spur of the moment, but I enjoyed it. And people want more of the both of us. I'm totally down.
That's going to happen anyway. You may not know it, but I know it.
Just give
for
2 weeks notice.
2 weeks notice. That's right. Timing is everything. I got you. I'll give you a heads up.
All right.
And for everybody listening to the show, really appreciate you. Follow Next Level, like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll continue to deliver value. Progress always.